can we add a little bit of speed to the adaptation or evolution of species so they can adapt to it as well?
In a world where temperatures are rising at an alarming rate, coral reefs are facing a critical threat. With 30 to 50% of coral reefs already lost due to climate change, the urgency to act has never been greater. Data shows that without significant action, 90% of the world's coral reefs will be threatened by 2050. We interviewed Justin Umholtz, who's an educator at the Moku'opapa Discovery Center in downtown Hilo, to find more about coral bleaching and the damage it's doing to the environment.
Coral reefs, one, are a huge barrier to storms, so they're protecting our shorelines from big storm surge. They're like the center of the ecosystem here, so they're that source of food, of shelter, nutrient cycling. Without them, we wouldn't have a lot of the nearshore that we do. And it's the coral reef that even is building the islands out there. It's this incredibly amazing place. It's full of abundance. Coral, reacts to a lot of different stressors, but ocean temperature, thermal stress is a huge one. Climate change is really the big driver. As we see ocean temperatures spike beyond what corals are used to, the symbiotic microalgae that's in their tissues that gives them these beautiful colors gets expelled. And so they go through a process of what's called bleaching. They lose that algae, and unfortunately, they lose a lot of the food energy that they get. Climate change is driving more frequent kind of heat stress events in the ocean and causing bleaching more frequently, and even sometimes if it stays hot long enough, just straight up mortality, death of the coral polyps. So what can we do here locally? How can we add a little bit of speed to the adaptation or evolution of species so they can adapt to it as well? Coral farming is one of the current terms that we're talking about, corals that are much more resilient, ones that can handle the heat stress, and then figuring out what are the best ways to grow them out in aquaculture setting, and then ways to reintroduce them to the reef so that they have a high success in surviving and establishing new reef. Take corals that are doing the best and help them grow out and spread fastest, and then add them back into the coral reef so that we have much more kind of genetically resilient corals. Regardless of what we do at this point, we're going to see that heat stress last for a while, because even if we make dramatic changes, the ocean is such a buffer. Now that it's showing those heat stresses, it's just going to take longer for it to change again.
Here in Hawaii, our coral reefs have been more resilient compared to other areas due to limited rainfall and fresh water replenishment into our soils and oceans. This is Sophia Ludikiarchibald from Cal High School for HIKI NŌ on PBS Hawaiʻi.